Well, I'm always happy to be talking about food on the Girlfriend Doctor Live. And so today is no exception. I am talking about bone broth. And with me today, right now, is a big, proponent, let's say, of bone broth. Can we say that, Nick?
I
Nick,
think that's what you say.
welcome aboard. We're going to talk about a little bit about this, right? Kettle and Fire, bone broth, benefits of bone broth, and why it's so important, why it's something I recommend, those I love in my medical profession recommend, and why it is so good for us. So Nick has spent his life, like his young adult life, really digging into the benefits of bone broth and also quality. And this is one of the to-go brands that I love, and they've got a special offer for you. And so we're promoting them this week as they're launching their keto bone broth options, some great flavors and exciting things like that. So I'm going to tell all of you guys about that and answer your questions about bone broth and why you should be drinking it on a regular basis. So Nick, so tell us, how did you get into bone broth, and why should we do Kettle and Fire bone broth as one of our?
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for the intro. So I've been working with Kettle and Fire for coming up on 2 years now. And prior to working for Kettle and Fire, I was interested in the paleo diet, really just trying to keep my diet simple and basic without too many refined foods. And I'd heard about bone broth, so prior to working at Kettle Fire, I used to make my own. And my girlfriend at the time, it drove her crazy because the whole house would smell kind of like boiling bones, and it would take 24 to 48 hours in our pressure cooker. Once I started with Kettle Fire, they make it ready to drink in a carton. And the mission and the two founders are two young brothers, founded the company. I can give you a little bit of that backstory in a few minutes. But just everything about the way they sourced ingredients and how simple everything was, and kind of like the back to the roots mentality really struck a chord with me. So, I've just been working with them, trying to spread the message. And I think it's, so many different cultures use bone broth in one fashion or form. And I feel like, especially in the American diet, it's kind of a forgotten about food. And we're just trying to get as many people on board to drink bone broth as part of their daily nutrition, habit or ritual. So.
Yeah, no. And one of the things that we do in our keto green plan, it's bone broth fasting. Sometimes we just fast with bone broth, and definitely drinking it on the go when we're out, in between meals when we need to, and just to feel that extra nourishment. I think it's just so powerful. So I want to touch on some of the key elements and key benefits of bone broth, and we'll put a link here in the show notes to your website, to Kettle and Fire. Actually, while I'm talking about the benefits, I'm going to give everyone that link. Created this little banner, and that will go, and plus use Dr. Cabeca to get 15% off bone broth, Kettle and Fire. So Dr. Cabeca, anywhere on the site, anything you get from Kettle and Fire, you can get that extra 15% off, and stock up as we're entering the busy months, and we really want to improve our gut health, our GI health, plus staying keto. It's things to do to nourish us, decrease our hunger while we're staying keto. If that was the only reason to take bone broth, that would be enough for some of that. But
I think you nailed it. I mean, I recently got into fasting. I think intermittent fasting has really just kind of taken the space by storm, and the science, around longevity and just like giving your digestive system a break, especially, in the 21st century, we're constantly snacking and everything. I think that's probably the number one reason I drink bone broth now, is to help either extend my fast when I'm, about to break down and reaching for a bag of chips or something. Just have a cup of bone broth. It nourishes you, and then there's a myriad of benefits that go along with that.
Yeah, there is. And one of the biggest things is when we're making bone broth, and I typically make my own, and I'm stocked up with some of my favorites. I love Kettle and Fire. I love Dr. Kellyanne Petrucci's bone broth. And so that's where I stock up, so that I'm good. And now I'm on the road a lot because my daughter's doing the rodeo. And so having to go options with me that I trust is really powerful. Now, I have gotten your Kettle Fire at Whole Foods, at Fresh Market, at many name brand grocery stores as well. So that's been really nice when I see that when I'm out shopping and stocking up on things. So that's powerful. One of the big reasons that we recommend bone broth is because of the collagen, right? And it's like way back, we talk about how have traditional cultures lived on just fats and meats over time. And what we know, because this all came about with the keto plans and studying the Inuit tribes, right? Inuit tribes diets are high, super high in fat, but very, very low in heart disease. So what was the reason? And for me, when I looked at it, I said, well, how can they be eating such high fat and not have the alkalinizers, the keto green part on board, the alkaline part? But in fact, they eat all the bones, right? Bone broth, they make fish bone broth, they eat nose to tail. And so you're getting so many more nutrients and minerals, but especially with the stews, the bone broths. And that makes a big difference, getting the collagen even to the marrow out of the bone. I mean, it really is a delicacy for a reason, because it's a medicinal food. And I wonder if you can elaborate on the benefits of collagen. And also, then I definitely want to talk about your methods of doing bone broth. I mean, you can just look when you pour out a carton of your bone broth, it's rich in color, it's beautiful. Sometimes my bone broth looks a little wimpy and I'm cooking it for extra, right?
Yeah.
To really leach out some of those minerals and add in herbs and spices and flavor to bone broth, because that does make a difference and that increases our compliance. I know we've got a bunch of chefs on board watching here today, so a big shout out to all our audience that's here. Magdalena is here, and she wrote in, is it okay to drink bone broth if someone has food sensitivity to beef? Just did an ALCAT Platinum Plus test. Well, excellent, Magdalena, for doing that testing. I think ALCAT testing is very powerful. And I'm going to pose this question to you to answer. Give a go at, Nick. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, so we offer a chicken and a beef bone broth. So I would say if you have a sensitivity to beef, play it, say for me to go with the chicken, it still has a lot of the collagen. We use chicken feet plus chicken bones. So we have the gelatin, the collagen, the amino acids. But one of the things that, I'm really proud about here at Kettle Fire is the process at which we boil the bones. So it's, a lot of the commercial bone broths or stock companies, at the end of the day, it costs money the longer the cook time, the more it costs, because you're using up the facility. So we slow boil the bones for 14 to 24 hours every batch. But then we wound up sourcing our beef bones from Australia and Tasmania because of the lower levels of like glyphosate and other pesticides that they use. It's really hard. So we only use grass-fed and finished bones. And it's really hard. It was hard for us to source the grass-fed and finished bones here in the US. So we had to go international. And so, we really don't cut any corners. It's, I'm a proponent of making your own bone broth by all means. But I think what you said, Dr. Cabeca, is just having it in your pantry for those days you don't have 24 to 48 hours to make your own. You're on the go. And I mean, just having it in your pantry at all times, to be honest, for me, it's something I drink every single day. One of our cartons is it's like this big, and it's two servings. So I have a half a carton in the morning. You feel it kind of lines your gut and satiates you and gets you through lunch. And then I break my fast around 2 p.m.
So, and guys can do longer extended fasting. I like women to break fast by 10 a.m. and finish dinner by 6 or 7 p.m. So especially those of us in the menopause. But yeah, no, that extraction is really, really important. Pressure cookers are amazing. Also, Magdalena, to go back to your question, if you have a food sensitivity to any ingredient, oftentimes if you have like something as major as beef, it is healing the GI tract. Once you heal the GI tract, those food sensitivities can go away. So being on a bone broth, if you don't have a chicken allergy, I'd stick to chicken and fish bone broth for now. And then once you are like GI tract is restored, we know that there's no more leaky gut or other issues, you do a 72-hour reintroduction. So then try, first try just beef bone broth and see how you do. And then try some beef and see how you do. Wait 72 hours to know before and don't confuse it with all different kinds of foods. So you're not reintroducing more than one food sensitivity at a time. And when you do that, you will be able to say, okay, my body doesn't like this, or my body is fine. I feel great, feels nourished. And that's really, really powerful. We like collagen for healthy hair, healthy skin, to reduce our fine line and wrinkles. Nick, I know that's why you drink bone broth right now.
Exactly.
But our overall digestive health and gut health, beauty starts from within. And JJ Morales is here. Good to see you. She said, what's the best way to enjoy bone broth and still get all the benefits? I mean, you can periodically do a 3-day bone broth, 72-hour bone broth fast where you're just drinking bone broth, or you can have my keto alkaline or keto green protein shakes. I have some in the background here. I thought I'd come from my kitchen today with all of you guys since we're talking bone broth. So you can do a complete 72 hours or just try once a day. Maybe sometimes use bone broth as your evening meal, or if you feel like I need to eat something in the evening late, use that bone broth. Let those nutrients restore, help the gut tissue, the bacteria within the gut as well, to rest and repair overnight. And that's a really nice way, JJ, to add bone broth into your diet. So from Facebook, we have a question about whether or not you've reached out to organic U.S. farmers, because I think especially with the pandemic, those supplies may be really tough to get to, and we definitely want to support our organic U.S. farmers.
Sorry, so we recently got certified for our chicken bones organic. So it's a pretty new, we're always trying to find the next step, in terms of like non-GMO project verified, organic. We just got a glyphosate-free certification, which not too many food brands have gotten. So yeah, we are certified organic for our chicken bone broth. Beef is kind of the next step, and it's just a matter of the logistics and trying to find farmers that, that are compliant. And again, like grass-fed and finished is really important to us. And so that would have to be coupled with the organic.
Well, explain that terminology, grass-fed and grass-finished, because now you can go into Walmart and get grass-fed beef, which is great. I'm so excited about that. But it doesn't say the difference between grass-fed, grass-finished, because this is tricky. This is like marketing,
It's unfortunate, really. It's unfortunate that there seems to be so many loopholes in the terminology, and for a consumer making the decision, at the grocery store on shelf, it's like there's so many different certifications and everything to know. So yeah, I think it's really great that conventional grocers, especially Walmart, is bringing on grass-fed beef. The difference between grass-fed and finished is that I need to look at which side of it, but for grass-fed beef, I believe they are kind of like fattened up on corn, and then the last maybe 30 to 60 days they're fed grass, so it kind of like helps kind of clear them out. But with grass-fed and finished, start to finish from after they're weaned off their mother's milk, they're eating nothing but pastured grass. And so it's kind of, there was like a pyramid of quality. You'd have like the bottom would be the conventional soy and corn fed, and then you'd have grass fed would be in the middle, and then grass fed and finished would kind of be the top of that pyramid.
Yeah, no, I like that. I'm going to put in another link here that's going to scroll across the bottom. I don't know how to make it scroll slower, but I'm going to go speed scrolling. But kettleandfire.com, Dr. Cabeca will give you use the code Dr. Cabeca, and that will give you 15% off. But also they have a link to what is bone broth too on that page. And that's a really nice page of information too, and then talking about from grass-fed, grass-finished. Now, I've got a big shout out here to Mary Heidbrink. She is from California, and she is the girlfriend doctor. She's a winner. She is a winner for my girlfriend doctor one-on-one date night. Mary, I cannot wait to have date night with you, girlfriend's night in. And I so look forward to that. And she's just amazing. And she grows her own garden, and herbs and spices and amazing. And she is verifying that she has endorsed your brand. Here we go. That is the highest recommendation really that we can get. So she said she had some Kettle Fire chicken bone broth alone for dinner last night. And it gives your body a chance to rest and digest. Teresa asks here, bone broth versus collagen. And I think that's a really fair question because we often see many different forms of collagen that is available. And I would say, like, if I'm supplementing with just a straight collagen, I'm using collagen peptides. And I pretty much go to primalkitchen.com and or furtherfood.com for my straight collagen peptides. So let's talk a little bit, Nick, about bone broth versus collagen.
Yeah. So I'm not too well versed on straight collagen and how they process it. From what I understand, it's, they're depending on what company you get it from. I think Dr. Cabeca mentioned 2 really solid brands there, but there's so many different brands out there that have different ways of extracting the collagen from the hides. And sometimes there's some chemicals involved and it's kind of a harsher process. For us, essentially all of the protein in our bone broth is some sort of a collagen or amino acid. And so it's 10 grams per serving. And just the way we extract it with that really slow simmering, you get a really easily digestible version of the collagen because it's broken down so slowly over time. And so, yeah, I think to be like, personally, the only collagen I get really is from bone broth because I drink it so frequently. But I think it's, it's definitely a really solid option for supplementing your collagen.
Yeah, I rarely supplement with additional collagen. Every once in a while, I'll go into my spurts, my cycles that we're boosting up collagen. And typically, prior to going into or coming out of a fast, it's a great time to boost that up as well. So that's cool. Let's see. Let's give away some Kettle Fire. Who wants to win some Kettle Fire? So enter this competition. What should we have them enter into the chat box?
I'd say
your favorite flavor of bone broth. Chicken, fish, beef.
There you go.
Herbs, well, we do vegetable bone broth. That's not a bone broth, is it? There's no vegetable bone broth.
Well, there might be something in the works on that end, but yeah. I'd say comment in either whether or not, even if you've never tried Kettle Fire, we'd love to, choose a winner and give some away. So if you have, just comment in some way that you have used it or have not used it or what flavor you like, and we'll choose a winner.
Yeah, perfect. So yeah, just comment and in the chat box here, and also let me know where you're from. I always like to know where you guys are from because I have been out in this farming country for a while now, off my little island in St. Simons Island, Georgia, to just on the outskirts of Dallas, Texas, and looking at ranches and farming and practices, and a lot of these grass-fed, cows that are out in the pastures. And it's just so beautiful to see. My daughter, for every one of you guys, as you're entering, chicken, beef, fish, what's your favorite bone broth? And share with me if you can where you're from too. We're getting a lot of votes. Now, if your name is coming up on here, Facebook user, I can't see your name. You have to actually give StreamYard permission to enter your name. But I can bypass that real quick because I've got my private groups here in the Keto Green community and in my Keto Green 16 Quick Challenge group. So I'm going to pop in there and see who all is names are coming up here. But you have to actually give StreamYard permission for us to use your name. So we're getting a lot here. So Connie loves the chicken from Michigan. Bonita is watching from Illinois. Judy would love to try beef broth. Pat's here from Washington State. Got, let's see.
I'd love to see, we've got some Kettle and Fire users already. That's really terrific. And,
yes, yeah, definitely. Teresa would love to try it. She's in Norfolk, Virginia. We've got some, Pat says beef bone broth is my favorite. I love Kettle and Fire. We initially, y'all, just as a little aside, we were all set up to do a live a couple weeks ago, and they sent me some Kettle and Fire, and I just went through all my cabinets. I've used it all, Nick. I didn't have to show. I have in the fridge, I have bone broth that I made, but if you'll show some of that beautiful bone broth, that would be great. It's good looking stuff.
So we have a few different sizes now out. And you can, again, we can find them. We sell direct online. You also are in Whole Foods and a lot of the natural markets. And I think someone asked earlier, what's the best way to enjoy it? To be honest, I'm a fan of taking either chicken or beef and then kind of doctoring it up myself. And Dr. Cabeca had a really good point for like my late night Netflix watching something. And if I don't want to have a midnight snack or something, just have a cup of bone broth with some salt and pepper in it. And, oh wait, Amy, I love that you've tried the lemongrass beef, the ginger beef. That's it's kind of our take on a pho broth, which is really tasty.
I love that one too, the lemongrass ginger beef. Can you go through some of your flavors that you have?
Yeah. So I showed you here.
Potato and a mushroom. I mean,
the chicken and beef are our classic.
Next to glass.
And then here's we just launched, camera. So that's a keto bone broth. So we use a little bit coconut and MCT oil to give it some fat content. And this is a Tom Yum chicken bone broth. So it's kind of got that coconut Thai flavor. I was obsessed with our mushroom chicken for about, a year and a half. I still drink this one a lot. It's got some lion's mane and chaga, so like adaptogens already in there. And that's just kind of a heat and eat version. So you don't really have to add much to it. And then we've also launched a line of like soup. So this is a keto mushroom bisque, almost like a cream of mushroom. And so we've got, a few different ready-to-eat soups. The miso, I see Amy also saying the miso soup. The miso is really, really good just for heating it up in the cup and just sipping it. You don't have to add anything for it. So, we've really expanded a lot in the last few years. And keto is obviously our founders, really big proponent of the ketogenic diet. So we have a lot of keto-specific SKUs, but plenty that aren't as well.
And most of them are dairy-free. Many of them are
dairy-free. Many of them, yeah. The vast majority. We have a few with, some high-quality butter, but that's about it.
Awesome. All right, let's pick a winner here.
I'm gonna let you pick the winner, Dr. Cabeca, and you just let me know.
I know. Well, usually I have my daughter Brittany on, and she does the wheel of names, and I'm not happy enough to figure that out, but. But I will try real quick to figure this out. We'll do this here. Oh, and let's talk about other benefits of the bone broth.
Yeah.
We've seen the sleep, the skin, hair, nails, joints, especially as we get older. Again, for the collagen. And so, what about is there a reason to do one over the other, beef over chicken?
To be honest, I think they're not much. I think it's more of like a flavor preference. I kind of cycle through them just to keep it interesting, just because I drink it every single day. But in terms of like the amino acid makeup, very similar. We kind of select the mix of chicken bones between chicken feet and bones and necks to hit a certain amino acid profile. So I think you can't really go wrong with either one. Probably the biggest cohort of customers we have are looking for something to help with leaky gut, or a lot of people's Crohn's disease use our bone broth to help reset their gut lining. Inflammation's a big one. A lot of people with inflammation issues drink our bone broth regularly. And the company, if you have a few minutes, was actually started because our founder and CEO, Justin, his younger brother tore his ACL in soccer practice in high school. Justin was living in California. His little brother Nick was in Pennsylvania, and he was looking for some bone broth to send him to help him recover, and he couldn't find any that wasn't frozen. And that kind of sparked him to start the company. So injury recovery, surgery recovery, we get a lot of, doctors prescribing their patients bone broth to help them heal a little bit quicker, just because, the collagen and amino acids are the building blocks of your joints and muscles and skin. And the one negative I will say to drinking bone broth every day is I'm a bit of a nail biter, and my nails grow so fast and strong because I drink bone broth so often. But yeah, my fiance swears that my eyelashes have grown, a quarter inch since I started drinking bone broth. So it's really just, there's so many benefits, and it's such a simple food. There's so much food out there now that's, mimicking something else, a lot of like fake sweeteners and fake proteins. And it's just simple, bones and water. And it's liquid gold is what people often call
it is liquid gold. Right. It absolutely is. And another thing too, it's like one of my favorite books. We have some bone broth recipes, of course, and in my books, The Hormone Fix and Keto Green 16. And if you guys are new to keto and you haven't done keto yet, you want to look at your macros, you can look at some quick recipes. So a quick link here is dranna.com/keto-calc, and that'll get you started with some recipes. Another, one of my favorite girlfriends is Kellyanne Petrucci, and she does amazing. She has the Bone Broth Diet book. So another great diet. Nick, talk for one more minute. I'm going to enter these names into the wheel of names because,
terrific! You figured it out. Awesome.
I did.
So as I was saying, if you're going to make your own bone broth, which even though we sell bone broth, we always are proponents of kind of just spreading the message of the benefits of bone broth, and just do it for as long as you really can. Cook it slow and low. I think especially with quarantine, everyone's at home. They can watch their stoves, while they're at home and working. And I think I've turned on friends. My mom has rheumatoid arthritis, and she started drinking bone broth and is feeling a lot better. And there's just we're proponents of Kettle Fire, but more than anything, we're proponents of bone broth. And one of the other things that I will mention, if you are going to make your own bone broth, do your best to source high quality bones, because bones store a lot of nutrients, but they can also store a lot of like toxins and heavy metals. And if you're getting low quality bones, those toxins and chemicals can seep into the bone broth, and that's why we really take such care in sourcing our bones. So you don't want to undo the good of bone broth by choosing, poor quality bones.
That's right. All right. So has everyone entered? You just wrote your favorite type of bone broth or where you're from. And we have someone here from St. Simon's Island. Shonda, hey, St. Simon's Island. Yay. I'm kind of homesick. Been away for a couple months now. I can't wait to get back. And, so great. All right. I think we got everyone entered here. Hope I didn't miss any names. I don't think I did. Let's see. Here we go. I'm gonna technology. You guys are all so patient with me. I just so love it. This is fun. Have you seen the Wheel of Names yet?
This is the first for me.
This is the first. Here we go.
Do we get to see it in action here? Oh, terrific.
All right. So here we go. Click to spin. And we are spinning. Can you see that?
This is terrific.
Isn't this great? And the winner is Stacy.
Stacy, Teresa.
All right, so that is Stacy V here. So Stacy, message me your address, message me your information, and we will get this to you. So excellent. Nick, where can she email to send you her address? Stacy V is our winner. You
Nice.
are all winners because use the Dr. Cabeca code and you get 15% off. And you have an assortment is what sometimes I'll just get the assortment.
You know, I actually just now I just went in and I updated. So Dr. Cabeca's code for the next 48 hours will get 20% off instead of 15. Just because I just love everyone participating here. And again, we just want more people to try it. So go to kettleandfire.com. If you use Dr. Cabeca's code, you get 20% off. And if you choose 6 or more cartons, you also get free shipping. And so it's a really good way to try, a few different products. We have a bunch of different products in there. Stacy, I will get your information. We'll figure out, a little variety pack. You let me know what flavors you want and have them shipped straight to you.
Awesome. That is really great. Thank you for doing that, Nick. That's
of course
really great. For the next 24 hours, you are given an extra 5% off, so 20% off with this code. And there it is. So kettleandfire.com. Oh, yay. Thank you. And if there are any more questions, you guys, from our audience here, Stacy, she's in Maryland. She's so excited. And Mary wrote, crock pots make excellent homemade broth cookers. I put mine outside all day and night during hot summers. And that is good, extending the time. And also, what about one thing, like once you've done your first batch of bone broth, can't you use those bones again in a second batch and just add maybe some more apple cider vinegar or some citrus to really help extract some of the minerals, and adding some additional herbs or any other fresh veggies, stems that you have too? What's feedback on that?
Yeah, I'd say definitely if you get those really big, thick leg bones from the butcher, and a lot of times they'll saw them down for you because they can be really massive, and roast them for a little while just to help loosen everything up, and then throw them in the crock pot at a low temperature as long as you can. And I would say that you could definitely use them more than once if you wanted to. I think if you did about 24 to 48 hours, you probably need to get most of the marrow and stuff out of there after the first go around. But the flavor itself, it's really tasty too. So yeah, I think, and you can use, to your point, Dr. Cabeca, you can use carrot tops and you can use onion skin, the outer part of the onion. So it's really like you're making, it can be a lot of waste products turned into something useful. So it's always fun to reduce waste.
Oh yeah, no, reuse.
Yeah.
I think you're absolutely right. So, all right, I want to thank everyone. Stacy V, again, congratulations. You're watching us from YouTube, so best way for me to share with you, she can email you directly, Nick.
Please, yeah, yep.
Will you give your email?
Oh, yeah. Should I share it in the chat?
Oh, perfect. Okay, thank you.
Stacy, I'm gonna
go to Facebook. So this is Stacy's reaction.
All right, how do I?
Let's see. Here, I got it.
Okay.
I'm gonna be able to post it right to you, Stacy. So there you go. All right.
Perfect. All right.
Right there in the YouTube chat. Okay. Thank you again. Thanks for being here. Thanks for creating great quality products. And more and more, I hope that we can get more of our local sourced, organic, grass-fed, grass-finished farmers in the U.S. on board too. And thanks for this offer, 20% off for our community and for stocking us up. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day. Don't forget, sign up for my newsletter at dranna.com. And that way you'll also be caught up on news and inspiration, education, and just connection that's for being part of my community. So appreciate all of you being in the Girlfriend Doctor community. And I look forward to connecting with each of you again and again and again. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks for having me. Take care, everybody.